Hey, this is Matt Boggs, and how do you know when you found the one? This was a burning question in my own life when I was in my 20s, so much so that I decided I was going to answer this question once and for all for myself so I know who I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I jumped in an RV with my best friend and a documentary film crew, and we traveled 12,000 miles interviewing America's greatest marriages. Couples who were happily married for not just 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, but at least 40 years or more. We interviewed hundreds of those couples, and in every interview, I asked them this question: how did you know that this person was the one? How did you know that they were the person you would spend the rest of your life with? And they had a bunch of different answers, but there was one common thread that they all shared. And today, I'm going to share with you what that is. Check it out. Now, this factor that America's Greatest Marriages shared with me was the single greatest and most common factor that let them know that the person that they were dating would be someone they could spend the rest of their life with. And so I'm going to share with you a story written by Lisa Tiffin about a first date that she went on, and I want to see if you can pick up the theme in this story that America's Greatest Marriages reported was the one factor that let them know they had found the one. Listen to this. This story is entitled First Date, First Dent. Crunch! I knew the sickening sound of metal on metal, and it wasn't the sound I wanted to hear as I was pulling away from one of the most unusual and yet promising first dates I'd ever had. I jumped out of my car and tried to assess the damage in the inky blackness. All I could tell was that I had officially backed into my date's 1988 Mustang. Ugh! I couldn't believe what I had just done. I trudged back to his door, dreading the confession I was about to make. As I stood waiting for him to answer my knock, I reviewed the events that had led up to this moment. The night had started just fine. My darkroom partner from photography class had finally asked me out. I really liked this guy. He seemed genuine and caring, but he could both give and take a joke with the best of them. Definitely my kind of guy. Since I lived off campus, I parked at his dorm and he drove us to the movies in his Mustang, a car he was extremely proud of. The conversation flowed freely as we had plenty to talk about. From our classes to our similar upbringing, I was truly enjoying myself. We finally pulled up to the movie theater, but it looked abandoned. I worried that we were out of luck, but he thought there was a chance it was open. Sure enough, his positive spirit prevailed. It was open. We purchased tickets and went inside, only to find that I was also right. The place was deserted. Literally, we were the only people there, aside from the ticket taker and the projectionist. And truth be told, I wouldn't be surprised if they were the same person. Anyway, we settled in and watched our private screening. Then the fun really started. About halfway into the movie, the screen started to flicker, and we heard the flapping of the film as the projector broke. We stared at the blank screen. My date took charge. He went to see what the problem was and ended up making friends with the projectionist. Soon we were receiving a tour of the projection room and enjoying an insider's view on how movies are shown. I have to admit it was kind of fun. And even more interesting was to see how this man acted under pressure. In fact, I was starting to really admire him. As we watched the rest of the movie, my mind began to wander. Maybe we might have a chance. Maybe we would end up married with lots of little children who are fascinated by how things work and who could see the possibilities and not just the problems in life. I could just see Junior taking apart my blender and making a time machine. But truly I was getting ahead of myself. Plus, I had no idea at that point what a tragic, for the Mustang, ending our date was fated to have. So the movie ended and we drove back to the dorms, happily chatting, oblivious to the impending disaster. We said goodnight, and bang, there I was, knocking at his door to tell him I'd ruined his muscle car. I was sure then that I'd ruined my chances as well. But he answered the door, slightly surprised to see me standing there only moments after we had said goodnight. I sheepishly confessed my crime, hung my head, and waited for the worst. But it never came. Instead, the patient man went out to see the car, barely glanced at it in the pitch black and pronounced it fine. I was shocked and also interested. I know my reaction would have been much different had our roles been reversed. In fact, I am certain it would have involved shaking heads, wringing of hands, and loud voices, yet there he stood, smiling and telling me not to worry. It was at that moment that I knew I'd found a good man. And guess what? Somehow, despite all my mistakes, he saw something in me too. 2 years later, we drove away in that Mustang with a sign that said, "Just Married," covering up a slightly scratched and dented bumper. It's been nearly 18 years now, and while we no longer own the Mustang, we do have a rich history together, complete with fun stories of our adventures, beautiful twin boys, and a future that's brighter than any shiny chrome bumper you could have imagined. I love that story because it exemplifies the principle that America's Greatest Marriages taught me about how you know when you found the one. And the one principle they said, common throughout all of them, was it was easy to be together. And they felt a peace around one another. That ease and peace is a massive sign that you found someone incredibly special to be with. You see, oftentimes people want the massive chemistry in that relationship. Do I feel charged up? Do I feel massive attraction for this person? And yes, some of these couples had massive attraction right out of the gate, but not everybody. Others of them, it was a slow burn. It was almost a friendship that then later caught fire. But all of them talked about this peace and this ease of being together. In other words, it was really hard to mess things up. If you found that you're texting a guy and he disappears, or you're doing something and a guy freaks out and gets angry, and you're asking the question, wow, what am I doing wrong? And you feel like you're walking on eggshells. I want you to smash those eggshells. So many women send me questions about, ooh, did I do something wrong? And they feel like they have to be perfect for things to work out. And that's absolutely the wrong sign. That's the sign you're with the wrong person. Because guess what? When it comes to the right person, it is really hard to mess up the right thing. You get to be yourself. You get to relax. If you send the wrong text, if you say the wrong thing, if you dent his car, he says, you know what? No big deal. Water off a duck's back, and you find your way forward with him. So let this be a testament that you can relax, you can let go, you can have fun, and you can know, because it is hard to screw up the right thing, that when you meet the right guy, it will feel easy and it will feel good. One caveat to this. This is in the beginning of the relationship. Of course, when you get married or in your long-term relationship, there's going to be bumps along the way. There's going to be friction that happens, and you'll find your way through that friction and over those bumps, and that's okay. But in the beginning, pay attention to the man that you feel peace with, the man where it just has an ease to it and a flow to it, and know there's something special about that man and you and the relationship you share. Here's what I would love to hear. If you have found the one in your life, how did you know that that man was the one? Go ahead and post that in the comment section below. I think we're going to get some great insight on this video. And take a moment and subscribe to this channel, because this channel is all about increasing the love in your life and helping you create deep, profound relationships. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.